Good morning or good afternoon. Thank you very much to Clara and the organizers for inviting me to be with you today. And I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I'm actually speaking to you from the airport, so my apologies also if it's very noisy at the moment, but I hope you can hear me. First of all, I wanted to say that it's fantastic that this kind of discussion is taking place, because as you are very well aware, I actually am very concerned about the fact that in a number of countries, particularly in the global north, it's been virtually impossible, if not very, very difficult, to say the least, to have respectful, constructive conversations around the issues of gender identity, gender and sex, and the rights emanating from these, and also the tension between rights associated with these concepts and rights holders. And we need, as a society, to be able to discuss that, because we need to find solutions that don't constitute zero-sum games or an all or nothing. You may also be aware that I've engaged on this issue through my engagement on the proposal or the project law that the government of Scotland had in order to reform its gender recognition bill, granting self-ID to persons residing in Scotland. And essentially, I'd like just to say that what emanates, or the way I can summarize my position, is that though individuals have a right for their gender identity to be recognized, and states should facilitate that, there is no human right to self-ID. There's actually no grounds that to justify self-ID being a human right. The Yogi Karta Declaration, for example, that gets often cited in association with that, is not binding, nor does state practice actually reflect a sense that states regard self-ID as a human right. Also, according to international human rights, and if we look at the practice by the European Court of Human Rights, states actually do have a margin of appreciation in how they want to manage the legal recognition of gender identity, as long as, of course, it respects the principles of equality and non-discrimination and dignity. But it is possible for states to limit or regulate these processes. The other issue I want to say is that despite the fact that we have self-ID laws in around 20 countries, no country that I'm aware of until now has carried out a systematic, comprehensive evaluation of the impact of self-ID laws. It's perhaps starting in some places. Some countries have introduced further adjustments to their policies. For example, Nordic countries with regards to the medical transitioning of children, which is of course welcome. But I think still that we are still far from seeing a comprehensive human rights centered assessment of self-ID laws, particularly with regards to some populations, such as, for example, women in prisons, such as, for example, women that frequent domestic violence shelter. We still don't fully understand the impact of self-ID laws on self-exclusion by certain minority women, for example, women with certain religious beliefs. The other issue that I really want to stress here is that the characteristic of sex is at the core of all international human rights norms and conventions that states are bound by, and that are really the ones protecting women, ensuring their equality, and so on and so forth. We know that the vast majority of women are born female. And therefore, to come today and to say that women's expression of needs and demands based on the characteristic of sex is unreasonable, illegitimate, and should always be deprioritized when it clashes with gender is actually unfounded. I mean, it's not right, and it has no basis really in international law. And so is therefore also the conflation of gender and sex. It's very problematic that whenever these two concepts are discussed, that we are seeing deprioritization, marginalization of characteristics based on sex, including when it comes to data collection, when it comes to factoring sex-related data into public policies. We need to collect data based on sex for having sound policies such as, prison policies, but also criminal law policies, health-related policies, education policies, political participation. Really, we need that, and we need that also for transgender persons to be better able to provide services to them, so to everybody. Now, there's the final thing that, frankly, I have not had the chance yet to engage on, but that I'm sure you are thinking about, which is if we are looking at the human rights consequences of legal gender identity recognition, especially self-ID, we will, of course, have to look at the impact when it comes to children. From the perspective of my mandate, I am concerned that the majority of children that are transitioning medically and therefore are subjugating themselves to irreversible medical procedures and puberty blockers that have lasting consequences on their bodies can do so in many parts of the world with minimum safeguards, with minimum counseling, with no proper information, science-based information of the consequences, not allowing them also to make informed decisions. So that is something that I'm sure you're going to also be discussing. Also, the rights of parents in these processes, also from a human rights perspective. So I will leave it at that, and would be very happy to continue to engage, and I wish you a fruitful discussion.